Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to be running you over how to manage your schedule to become lean and athletic. Now, what does lean and athletic mean? Basically, it's the physique that everyone wants at the moment, but they don't know how to achieve. And in order to achieve that, most people could benefit from building lean muscle mass and dropping body fat at the same time, which definitely is possible. Now, you might be wondering, why am I making a video about routine and schedule when we're trying to improve body composition? Surely it should be around training and nutrition. Now that's obviously very, very important, and we have separate videos on that. But after coaching hundreds of clients online, I genuinely think the ability to manage your schedule is probably going to be the biggest determining factor in the overall result that you get, which is obviously going to contribute to you building muscle and losing fat. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Joe. I own an online coaching company called Athletic Aesthetic. We work with professionals and we specialize in helping people build muscle and drop body fat to achieve that lean and athletic physique. So the ability to manage your routine and your schedule, it really is going to be the key to your success when it comes to leaning down and building muscle at the same time. I speak to a lot of people when I ask them how often they train. They're like, oh yeah, I train 4 to 5 times a week, every single week of the year. In some cases, this is true. And if they've not achieved the result they want and they are training that much, then that's probably going to come down to an issue with their training and or nutrition. But to be honest, a lot of people, I just find they're actually inconsistent, and they train 4 to 5 sessions on a perfect week when things aren't busy. But there's no point trying to commit to 4 to 5 sessions a week and then doing 2 or 3. You want to stick to a training routine that's realistic for you to do every single week of the year within reason. So it's all about consistency, and everything that I'm going to mention in this video is going to come down to you organizing your training and essentially getting into the rhythm of never ever missing training, having a non-negotiable mindset towards that. So the first thing that you need to do so that you can actually build your own training routine is choose how many training sessions that you can do each week. Now, again, going back to what I was saying before, you have to be realistic with this, and it's going to be determined by your career, your travel, and your social life, and also how much you actually just want to train per week. Now, if you've got big goals, you want to build muscle and lean down, you're not going to be able to do that on 2 days per week realistically, but you definitely don't need to be training 6 or 7 days a week to get into amazing shape. We've got loads of clients in great shape training just 3 to 4 days a week. So be realistic with the amount of training sessions that you can reasonably commit to throughout the entire year. I think the best thing to do is look at your almost busiest week of work and see how many days per week you could have trained on that week and choose that. For most people, that's probably going to fall between 3 to 5 days a week. So let's say 4 strength training sessions a week in the gym. A really good training split for that. We've got a separate video on how to set up your training, but if you're going to train 4 days a week, something like 2 upper body sessions, 2 lower body sessions would be absolutely perfect. So deciding and being realistic with how many days you can train per week is the first step, because if you're training 2 times per week one week and then 6 times per week the next week, that's not a routine. It's completely sporadic. It's all over the place. You're going to get, good results one week, make no progress next week, maybe even progress. And it doesn't allow you to build consistency and routine, which is absolutely essential. And from a training program standpoint, if you're on a 4-day training split and you're only doing 2 sessions per week, you're going to be missing out on training essential muscle groups. And that's where real inconsistency starts to come in. So once you've figured out how many days per week you can commit to and train, you then need to choose your training days. Now, it goes without saying, you don't have to train on exactly the same day of the week every single week. I actually recommend doing that because it literally just puts everything on autopilot, and you never even need to think about, oh, should I train on this day? Should I leave it till the next day? I always train on the same days per week. It works perfectly for my recovery and my routine. But you can move things around if you want to, but a good training split to follow, or good days of the week to train if you are following a 4-day training split, would be something like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, because it allows you to have Wednesday off to rest. So from a recovery standpoint, that would definitely be better than training 3 or 4 days back to back. It also means that you've completely freed up the weekend. So most of our corporate clients that are in those kind of office-based jobs that are social, they want to spend time with their families on the weekend. So they try and get absolutely everything done before the weekend. So it kind of takes the pressure off, and it means that they feel accomplished by the time that they get to the weekend. But it does give you that rest day in between, which I mentioned before. And it also means if you do have a crazy week, you do have the ability to move the sessions to the weekend and catch up if you want to. I would highly recommend avoiding moving your sessions towards the weekend. I've seen that happen so many times where clients will be like, oh, I was too busy to train on Monday and Tuesday. And before you know it, they've got 3 or 4 training sessions to do in 2 or 3 days. And they're really stressed. Realistically, they end up missing sessions, and recovery is just massively reduced when you're training that much. So I think Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is a really good split to follow there. So a big part of a lot of people's routines these days for work is travel, whether that is for work or leisure. I think 65% of our client base travel at least once every 2 months, and we have some clients that travel a lot more frequently. So if you are wanting to get great results, build muscle, drop body fat, and also travel along the way, you're going to need to learn how to adapt for and prepare for training and adapt your nutrition when you are traveling. So the main thing that's going to come up when you travel, sleep is going to suffer. So within our coaching program, we're obviously communicating with clients very frequently. We literally know where all our clients are going, and we know where their sleep is going to suffer. So we will give them personalized advice on how to adapt their training if they are suffering with sleep and they're sleep deprived. But as a general rule of thumb, if you are sleep deprived, you want to try and reduce the intensity of your training. So if you were pushing, let's say, 1 to 2 reps shy of failure in the gym on a normal training session when you've had good sleep the night before, maybe let's try and push just 3 to 4, maybe even 5 reps away from failure. That means that you're still going to get into the gym and get your session done. It's going to help you build that consistency, which is really important, and make sure that you can stick to the program. You're still going to get a good stimulus. You're still going to maintain results, but it means that you give your central nervous system a little bit of a break and you're not overdoing things. What you could do if sleep really, really suffered and you basically got none, or I would say less than 4 hours, consider moving one of those training sessions. As I was saying before in the video, you don't want to be moving your training sessions around too much, but sometimes it definitely is better to move them and just have a better training session when you've had more sleep. Another huge thing that will come up all the time is access to equipment when you travel. Some clients are fortunate, like their companies will put them up in expensive hotels and they'll have amazing gyms, or they'll pay for them to go to gyms close by. If that's the case, it's not really an issue. But if you are training in, a potentially a subpar hotel gym, the main thing that's going to come up is there's going to be a lack of weight in the gym. A lot of gyms will have dumbbells up to 45 pounds or 20 kilos. So you'll need to be able to create that intensity in your training sessions without weight. So the 2 main things you can do there is slow down the tempo from, let's say, a 2-second eccentric all the way down to a 4-second eccentric so that you feel the muscle working a lot more. And you also want to maybe potentially increase the rep range as well. So if you were doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 at a 2-second eccentric and you've not got much weight, you could do 3 sets of 12 to 15 at a 4-second eccentric, and you definitely still get a great stimulus there. But ideally, research ahead of time. And if you were working with a coach, you should communicate with the coach and they should be able to adapt your training program, which is what we always do. But a lot of clients will just look at gyms in close proximity to where they're staying and they'll get a day pass, or we sometimes even do research for them there. If you follow all the tips in this video, you should be able to maintain close to 100% compliance with your training. And if you can do that, provided that your nutrition is on point and you're sleeping and recovering well, then you will get results. If you're interested in finding out more about our coaching program at Athletic Aesthetic and understanding how we could help you, fill out the coaching application form in the bio of this video and I'll be in touch to arrange a free consultation call.